York City this morning, where for the first time in U.S. history, a former president is preparing to turn himself in and face criminal charges.
All right, so he's going to arrive at a Manhattan courthouse where he's expected to be fingerprinted and have his mugshot taken and then appear before a judge.
Donald Trump left his Mar-a-Lago estate yesterday afternoon, taking a private plane to New York, spending the night at Trump Tower, and this morning the indictment still remains under seal.
All right, so here's what we do know right now. The Manhattan grand jury that indicted Trump spent weeks investigating money paid to two women during the 2016 presidential campaign. Those women alleged they had sexual encounters with the former president, allegations that Trump denies. While the so-called hush money accusation isn't in itself illegal, here's where the law comes in, basically, is that Trump's former lawyer, Michael Cohen, paid off one of the women through a shell company that he set up. He was then reimbursed by Trump, whose company logged those reimbursements as a legal expense.
And that is the crux of this case here. So Trump now facing multiple charges of falsifying business records, including at least one felony offense. Under the law, prosecutors must now prove that there was an intent to defraud.
Okay, so Trump's lawyers describe him as a victim of extortion, while his political opponents are asking him to step aside.
We'll be pleading very loudly not guilty before the judge, and then we'll go from there.
Public official under criminal charges ought to step aside for the good of the public and the office that you seek.
So bringing in this morning, reporter Madeline Rivera joining us in New York City this morning. Madeline, good morning. You know, talk about the situation in New York right now. I mean, is there any reason to believe there could be issues perhaps with violence and protesters?
Well, there is a ton of activity here in Lower Manhattan outside of the courthouse. A lot of police officers and a lot of reporters looking to cover this historic story. I'm going to ask my photographer Phil here to pan and zoom in closer to the scene right across or right down the street from us. You will see over there just this mob of reporters, local, international, and national media looking to cover this story of global significance. People are standing shoulder to shoulder. It's hard to imagine squeezing another camera in between all of those people, but that just speaks to the gravity of this moment. The first former president to be criminally charged. In terms of what we can expect today, we don't have an exact timing. Of course, things can always change, but we do expect former President Trump to make his way from Trump Tower a few miles north of us, which is where he stayed overnight. He will come here to Lower Manhattan to be arraigned. He will be processed. He will be fingerprinted, and then the arraignment will take place in the 15th floor courtroom. We expect that arraignment to happen pretty quickly. Mr. Trump is expected to plead not guilty, but there will be no live cameras to capture that arraignment after a late ruling by a judge last night. But there will be still photos right before the arraignment actually takes place. There will be cameras, though, in the hallways as Mr. Trump heads to the courtroom. The question is whether Mr. Trump does address the cameras. There's also a question here of whether the judge could impose a gag order which would prevent Mr. Trump from talking about the case. Bill and Liz.
So the indictment could be unsealed at any time. What more are we expecting to learn from it? Madeline, did you catch that? What more do we? Oh, okay. I guess we've lost Madeline. They're in New York. Right. Okay, so Madeline Rivera live in New York. We will check back with her in a bit, and a lot happening there, obviously, outside that courthouse in Lower Manhattan. We're following the latest all morning long. 6:09.